Welcome to the Lady Bandtits Podcast, women supporting the creators, artists, and writers of music. We're excited you joined us. So let's get started.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Lady Bandtits Podcast. How's everybody doing out there? Have you liked our other episodes? Let us know. Email, social media. We want to know. We really want to know. How's it going, KayAnna?
Good, Kara. How are you?
I'm good. Doing good.
Yeah.
I just had my birthday, y'all, and I am officially the oldest person on the podcast, even though there's only two of us.
Yeah, I'm catching up, but
pretty quick.
Pretty quick, yeah.
So it's been a pretty fabulous weekend-ish. So that's pretty cool. If anybody else celebrated their birthday, let me know, because I feel like I'm alone on the June 23rd birthday. It's very lonely out here because nobody.
Your summer birthday, right?
Yeah, I'm a summer birthday. Yeah,
I'm a summer birthday too, but I'm at the end of summer.
Yeah. See, you get to celebrate when everybody comes back from vacation. I have to figure out how to get in between everybody's vacations.
Yeah, I'm always like right at the beginning of school season, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. I'm always at the end, and everybody's like, "Oh, the kids are out of school. We're gonna leave," and so that was me. I just had to wait because everybody wanted to go on vacation. But
so tell me about today's guest. Who do we have today?
We have Danielle on today, and I've known Danielle for a little while. She is the girlfriend of my friend Marshall, and I am so excited for her to be on because she's so much fun. And we have spent a little bit of time together. We spent about a week together in Hawaii, and I'm sure she'll tell you all of the fun things we've done too. But yeah, I'm excited. So I'm going to bring her on.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi. Hey, y'all. How's it going? Good. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Can't complain.
Kara, I did not realize it was your birthday a few days ago. Happy birthday.
It was, yeah. It was my birthday, and I got to have two parties. That's how cool I am. Yeah. A friend's one and a family one, because I'm so far away from everybody that I get to have two. So that's exciting.
Do you celebrate all month, or is that just me?
I try to, but it's more like a week. I just do the whole week. But I try to do the month, but nobody really hops on board with that with me. So it's kind of sad for me. I would like to do the whole month and just be like every week do something cool, or get a present every week. Wouldn't that be amazing? Then by the end you have like 4 of them. It'd be fantastic.
You just buy yourself something, online every week and be like, "Oh, look, here's my present." Treat yourself.
That's a great idea. I'm gonna borrow that one. Yeah, I'm stealing that idea. Good job.
Danielle, what month were you born in?
I was born in March. My birthday is March 31st.
Oh, yay!
Yeah. So you're a St. Patrick's Day or April Fool's Day kind of kid.
I was due on April Fool's Day, but I was a scheduled C-section, and my mom was like, "Let's just do it the day before." And I thank her for that every day, every year.
Like,
she's like, "Let's maybe not do April 1st."
Yeah, that would be kind of tragic, I think, maybe, because then you get the whole jokes and things.
Right? Nobody would believe it was my birthday. Like. It would be really bad in like elementary school and middle school. Like literally no one would believe that it was my birthday, and I just wanted to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. Did you have any like favorite birthdays growing up?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I have actually. And they're all from when I was little. So my grandma used to make these really elaborate cakes.
That was my kitty, everybody.
Oh.
He just okay.
Mine do that too. Just out of the blue. So my grandma used to make me these really elaborate cakes, and I don't know how old I was turning, but I had a tea party birthday, and I still remember I was pretty young. I was probably like preschool age, maybe kindergarten. No, actually, it wasn't kindergarten because my kindergarten birthday I think was the zoo birthday, and my mom still talks about how terrible it was for them to this day, because I invited my entire class and we had these like animal masks, and we were just like running, like an entire class of kindergartners running around in animal masks, like a literal zoo. So I think it was before that where we dressed up. My grandma made this cake, and it was like a yellow teapot. She did all the flowers and like the spout and the handle out of like marzipan, and it was very elaborate. So I have very fond memories of those. I feel like as I get older, it's a little bit, I don't know. I don't do as much. I kind of just like meet up with my friends and get drinks, and it's not really that exciting, but
Yeah. I've always made it a thing. Like all of my friends are like, oh yeah, it's Kara's birthday. We got to make sure that we do something, because I've always made it a thing. And I always think, and it's not just because my birthday, but I just always think it's a good time to like bring everybody in your life together and like just celebrate life, and what you've got to that point, but yeah. KayAnna, what about you?
Oh man, I always for my birthday, I would always, when I was old enough, would go and treat myself to like a spa, like get my nails done, get a pedicure, and then I would always get a massage, because I was like, it's my birthday. I'm going to take care of myself one day out of the entire year. Like it's about me. And so, yeah, I would get like a facial or a massage or, body wrap, and just spend the day like either with some girlfriends or just by myself, just pamper myself, because it was just like literally the one day that I could excuse, like I felt like I could be like, oh yeah, like I'm getting a massage today, and it's like, well, what for? It's just like, well, it's my birthday, I'm gonna treat myself, so that's kind of my thing. That, and then also like just dinners, like I would just go and hang out with friends. So my mom is really big on like birthdays too. And I remember, I think it was like my 4th or 5th birthday. We're talking about cakes. I had, oh my gosh, this is going to date me, and it's also going to show a little bit of my awkward history. I had a Barney cake when I was like 4 years old.
I don't know. I don't think that dates you too much, because I definitely watched Barney, and my younger cousins, one of them is like turning 21. Like they were obsessed with Barney. So
okay. Yeah, I felt like it was like where I grew up in Oklahoma, it was like very faux pas to like, if you liked Barney, it was like the stigma of like you kind of grew up really poor. So I think that's where like for me, I was like, like looking back as an adult, I was like, yeah, I was poor. But the cake itself was it wasn't like an elaborate cake. It was just like this Barney cake that someone had made, and it had kind of like a UFO shaped head. And I remember that for my piece, my mom chopped Barney's head off and gave it to me on a plate. So one of my birthday memories is having my piece of cake being the head of Barney. So.
That's hilarious. That's funny. My aunt would make all of our birthday cakes, and she my mom was like really like the Tasmanian devil, so one year I had the Tasmanian devil head as mine. And then I was so into Barbies, but I never had a Barbie cake. It was just like always some character or something, So it's kind of funny. Scooby-Doo was one of them. And then as I got older, they started just sticking to like an orca cake or a fish of some sort or a mermaid or something. And to this day, they either still do that or I get an Oreo cake, one of the two. So I made it easy.
There you go.
But yeah, so let's get into you, Danielle, and let's I really, really want to know, like, can you give us a little bit about like who you are and all that good stuff, and then we'll get into the good stuff?
Sure. So I'm Danielle. I currently am living in LA. I've been here since 2018, but I am from the Seattle area, Woodinville to be exact. I am here because I am in a relationship with Marshall Massingale. So I have him to thank for this. So
yeah.
I am currently a resident at LA General Medical Center in LA, doing medicine and trying to live my best life when I have the opportunity.
Yeah.
But born and raised in Seattle, miss it a lot. Plan to move back at some point.
Yeah.
But always treated me pretty well.
That's good. That's good. How did you and Marshall meet? How did that come about?
So we actually met on Tinder. I'm not gonna
Really?
lie.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2016, right after I graduated college.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Do tell. Like, what's the story? How did this play out? What was the first meet like?
Yeah. Okay. I feel like Marshall will tell you two different versions, but okay. Marshall, I think we have two different versions of how everything went down. But I essentially had just moved back home after graduating college. He just texted me saying, hope it went well. Yeah, little does he know I'm still talking. I just graduated college and I moved back home, and we had matched on Tinder. And I don't remember this, but according to him, he had messaged me and I just completely ghosted. Like, I did not respond for like days, weeks. I don't know how long it was. But I guess he just assumed like, okay, yeah, she's like not interested. And it was around the time of like the NBA playoffs, and like we're both really big basketball fans and everything. So I ended up responding at some point because I don't remember not responding, but I ended up responding, and we were like talking about basketball, like making bets on the NBA playoffs and things like that.
March Madness or something?
No, it was NBA.
Oh, NBA.
Yeah. So it was like I don't even remember who was playing. I think it was probably the Warriors and maybe Oklahoma City or something like that. I don't know. It was like
the Thunder.
Yeah, it was like it was like that time, that era, I believe. But I might be embarrassed because it might have been totally different. I don't really know. But let's see. So and so pretty much I messaged him back, and like within a couple of days of talking, I think like we decided to meet up. One of the things that's really funny is that one of my Tinder pictures at the time was me with my friend's kitten, and I had never had cats in my entire life. I mean, Marshall had never had cats. We've always been like dog people. And so he thought that like I was like a big cat person, and he was like actually concerned that was going to be like a big red flag when we first met. And then he found out that I like didn't actually have a cat, and he was like, that's like really deceptive that you had a picture with this kitten because I thought you were a cat person. I was like, no, like I'm not. But now
I feel like that would be him.
We have two cats.
He's like, I can't handle that.
And he loves them, and we're both 100% cat people now. Not that we would never get a dog, but things have changed in the last 7 years.
Yeah, that's been a minute. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So our first date, I guess, was at this place called 13th. Was it 13th Avenue Pub? I think it's 13th Avenue Pub. It's in Mill Creek. That's where and we just met up. There were some like UFC fights on. We just met up at the bar and played some pool. And he wore his roommate's shoes. Really funny. I guess he didn't have anything to wear, and so he borrowed his roommate's shoes. And one of the things that like really stood out to me was that he knew so many people in that bar. Like we were playing pool, and like they had karaoke, and like he knew the person that was like running the karaoke, and I was just like so impressed that so many people seemed to know him and love him, and he just seemed to have like, I don't know, just kind of like an aura about him that really like attracted people to him.
Because he wasn't in martial law yet, right? That came.
Not really. No, I think they like kind of like 18? Just started. Like they knew him just from like Mill Creek, just from like him growing up there.
Yeah. Okay.
And, like, from the basketball world, I think, and like things like that. So I remember being like very impressed. Like, wow, like this guy's really popular, I guess. And I don't know. I felt like I was like, oh, I'm dating the popular guy. Like I was never really popular in school or anything. So I was like, that's kind of nice. But yeah, other people just loved him, and that just made me realize I was just like, okay, he must be like a really good guy if this is the effect that he has on people when they see him around. So, and that has not changed at all. He's exactly the same still.
Hopefully a little more mature.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I said hopefully a little bit more mature.
Yes, I think we've both grown up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Since I was 22. I think he was 24 at that time. So, yeah.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
You worked today. It's okay.
I did.
You're allowed to be tired.
Hard day of work. Yes. A lot of driving. They have me going all over the place. So, yeah.
So,
go ahead.
do you guys, he lives in Seattle, right? And you live in LA.
Yes.
So what's the deal with the distance between y'all?
That is a great question. No, it's actually so I moved down here for medical school. I unfortunately did not get into the University of Washington for med school, which ended up being a blessing because I am in a really, really good place now, and I'm very grateful for where I am. I guess you can say things happen for a reason. But so I had, kind of my choices of like where to go, and I decided, because my family's still in Washington State, so I decided to be as close as possible to home. Well, not quite as close as possible. I did get into Oregon Health Science University, but I just didn't want to go there. I wanted to be in LA. So I moved to LA. And then when I decided what residency I wanted to do, I loved the program that we had at our hospital. And so I decided that I wanted to stay, and luckily I matched into our program. So that's why I've been down here, and have not been able to make the move back up quite yet. And then Marshall, obviously has everything going on in Seattle. All of his connections and his band and everything he does are up there. And he's, had a lot of really good success in the last few years, or even since I've known him, honestly. He's just been kind of like on an upward trend. So I try not to pressure him too much to leave that to be with me, because LA is a really tough place to establish yourself, especially as a musician, and he has so many good things going for him. It wouldn't make sense to ask him to start all over, in that regard. So we're making it work. It's actually working really well. Huh?
Does it? I mean, you're saying it's doing well, but I mean, it has to be hard too. Like, you're not with him every day. There's only FaceTime and calling. It's got to be kind of difficult.
Yeah, it definitely is. I really enjoy it whenever he is able to come down. But I'm also really busy, and it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't spend a lot of time at my house. So even if he was here, it would be more time than we currently get, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And I feel good about it, because I know that, we're just kind of both doing our own thing for now, and eventually we'll figure it out. But there's really no rush. But he does make a really good effort to come down and visit me. I'm only able to get up to Seattle maybe once or twice a year, just because of how my job is. So he comes down. He tries to come down like every few months if he can. And like in the winters when he's not super busy with like his like Fremont Fridays and things like that, he's able to spend a lot more time down here. So he'll spend a few months down here at a time. So he really prioritizes it, and I really appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Because, he's busy, but he has a little bit more flexibility to do things remotely than I do. So
he doesn't have like a 9 to 5, so he can fit it in a little bit better.
Exactly. Yeah. So far it's working out.
What are you studying? I'm sorry.
So I'm in my residency, and for people who don't know how this works, so you do your undergrad, you do your medical school, and then you do residency afterwards, which is pretty much like your training after med school. And your residency, you match into a program based on whatever specialty or subspecialty you want to go in, and then you kind of focus on that specific training before you go on to like be a real doctor. I am a real doctor, but a real doctor, if you know what I'm saying. Like, you can practice on your own without any supervision. So my program is internal medicine and pediatrics. It's a combined program between the two specialties, and so I spend time taking care of adults and spend some time taking care of kids. And that's what I'm doing.
One or the other is easier?
No, they both have their challenges. Yeah, definitely.
I bet.
Where I'm at, I would say like the number of patients on the pediatric side is less, so it's easier in that sense. But pediatric patients also just take a lot more effort, because you're really working with families, and you're kind of doing more. I mean, I try to do holistic care in adult medicine too, but in the kids, it's really, really important.
Yeah. We're not doing a squeaky. Thank you. My dog wants to play with a squeaky toy, of course. I'm curious, going back to you and Marshall, I'm curious to know, like, how does it how does it kind of feel, or what's it like dating a musician when you're a complete opposite like career, like it's not the same. So how do you feel about that?
I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I know a lot of people whose partners are in medicine and they are doing great. But I like that I'm forced to not spend all of my time thinking and doing my job. And music, I mean, I've always loved music my entire life. And so dating a musician and somebody who's really involved in the music scene forces me to, stay involved in things that I love, especially when my schedule is so difficult, work-wise. It's really nice to know that, especially when I'm up visiting, like in Seattle visiting, that's going to be just kind of like built into my trip, and I don't have to like make, necessarily like extra time or effort to like go see a show. It's like, it's part of, my relationship and hanging out with Marshall. So I really, really appreciate that. I think that's probably the best part about it.
Yeah. How about like the relationship between you and the other members and the other girlfriends? I don't think anybody's married yet other than Priscilla, right?
No, just
I don't think so. Yeah. So I think it's just Josh. But how is your relationship with them when you come up and with the band?
Yeah, it's great. I love his band. I love all the girlfriends. I love spending time with them. It's funny because when we first kind of like started dating and he was really like getting into martial law band, I was still in Seattle. So I was spending so much time around the guys and their girlfriends, so much time at the band house. And so now whenever I get to see them, it's kind of like a little family reunion. Like it's really incredibly exciting. Like I am sometimes like when I go to like Fremont, if I'm in Seattle in summer, I go to Fremont Fridays. I'm like as excited to see the band members as I am to like spend time with Marshall, honestly. Yeah. I love them so much. They're so great. So I don't really, I don't talk to them as much now that I'm in LA, but it's always a nice little reunion. He's surrounded by a good group of guys. And their gals.
He really is. Yeah, it's a good group, and I think the girlfriends are, I really only got to spend time with everybody when we all went to Hawaii, and that was my first time. Other than Priscilla, that was my first time kind of getting to know everybody else. Yeah. When going to the shows, it was really just enjoying the show and stuff, and going with Priscilla. But yeah, I mean it's such a good group of people there, and they've made like a little family of y'all, which, you can kind of relate, can't you, KayAnna, like in that regard of that kind of dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Rafa and I, my husband, he's in a band, and he, when we first started dating, it was just like kind of a transformation of like him taking like 3 members, and kind of like one member moved to Oregon and moved away, and it was like trying to find a drummer and like, that transition. And then just like through COVID, like how we just got closer together, and how now it's just more of like a family unit and everything that we do. Like when we travel or when we go through things, like it's really nice to have like a kind of like a surrogate family, because neither one of us are from here. My husband's from LA, and I'm originally from Oklahoma, so all of our people are in different states, and so we just kind of melded into one like community and one family. And it's really cool. So what is this Hawaii trip that I keep hearing about? Like what happened? How did you guys have like this family trip to Hawaii, I guess?
Oh my God. What year was it? Was it 2020?
It was 2020. It was January. Yeah, it was 2020, 2021. Yeah.
It was wild.
It was yeah. So
you guys traveled during COVID.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it wasn't like peak summer COVID, but like it was like definitely still COVID. There were definitely like mask mandates and like
quarantine. Did you quarantine?
It wasn't. There wasn't quarantine. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, was it 2020 or was it 2021 to 22? because people could travel and like there were shows, but there was kind of
No,
some
it was
like
2021 to 2022.
okay.
Yeah, it was 2021 to 22. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense because
Yeah.
because
We
it
still had
wasn't
to wear
quite as
masks, though.
strict, but it was still
Yeah.
kind of like there was a little bit of like an uptick in COVID cases, so it was like
Yeah.
still a little bit of a thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so
So they were all planning. They go every well up to that point. I don't know if they still do, but they up to that point they had gone every year over the like just after Christmas through the New Year in Hawaii. The band does. And because they have a lot of following there and they have connections there, and Tane has a lot of connections there, and so I think now Maddie does too because he's been there.
Yeah, Matt has a house there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he has a house. Yeah. And so they were just going there all the time. And so in that case, they had this at one of their shows at the Neptune, they had a free ticket to come with us to Hawaii, right? And so I was like, cool, man, that would be cool. I've never been, and to go with some friends, that'd be awesome, and I have one friend in Hawaii, so I was like, I got somebody I can stay with, but then so I put my name in, and I think I got like, I don't know, 4 tickets or something, and I put them in, and then and then the so the other people had put in too, because Priscilla was trying to get everybody to put in, and the money was going towards something, I don't remember, some charity or something. And
so was it like a raffle and you won it?
Raffle. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So then so I'm all the way in the back of the I'll have to send you the video, but I'm all the way in the back, and you know what I'll do? I'll send you some of the pictures of us too, so we can kind of put in here so people can see. But I'm all the way in the back of the venue, and I was Priscilla's sitting next to me. She's one of the wives in the martial art band, and I was like, man, I really hope I get that. That would be so much fun. It'll be cool. And the first one they call is me, and me and Marshall look at each other, and he's like, no way. And I was like, what? And so I get up there, and Marty helps me walk up, and there's this one of my favorite pictures, and it's me in the middle of both Marshall and Marty, who are like way taller than I am. And we're just like happy, and Marshall was like, well deserved. That's so cool, and then the day of when we left, it was all of us had gone to go get on the plane, and Marshall was still having like coffee or something, and we're all like, bro's gonna be late, like but it ended up being really funny. Tane and I both had the entire row going there and coming back, so it was really cool. Both of us just chilled, like slept there and back, and during the trip was just fantastic. It rained a lot, but it was fantastic. I got to go to their shows that they were playing at and met some really cool like bands that they have connections to, and so it was fantastic. It was great. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was a little bit. It was, you totally like left out the entire part where the whole band got COVID though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that.
We're still in COVID season.
Yeah, the whole band when we got there got
like,
COVID. That's right, and it was just me and you, and Marshall and
Tane and Tyler.
Tyler. That's right. Yeah.
The camera guy. Because so we were all planning on staying at like Matt's like house, which is like beautiful, like up in the hills.
Yeah.
And then one of the band members started not feeling very well, and he tested positive for COVID. And so everybody else, me being like the doctor in the house, I was just like, everybody needs to take a COVID test. Because also at the time, like, I had family that like was sick and things like that, and I didn't want to like bring it back home. So I was like, everybody has to test, and like if people are positive, like I'm leaving and quarantining myself. And so what ended up happening was everybody tested positive except for Kara. I don't think that you were there for that part because you were staying with your friend. But everybody tested positive except for me, Marshall, Tyler, and Tane. And so I took the 4 of them. I was just like, you guys, I'm going to get a hotel room. Like, you can come with me or not. And so we stayed in a hotel room, like 2 queen beds, me, Marshall, Tane, and Tyler.
Yeah.
And we just had our own little squad during the trip. And then once people because we were down there for a while, and this is like the first day. And so by the time they had the shows, it had been like 5 days or something like that. Like, people were starting to test negative, weren't having symptoms anymore. So they were doing the shows more like at the end of the trip. But it was really it was a really wild time. It was stressful at the time, but looking back on it, it's kind of hilarious.
It's a little because they were all tested, you know, you and Marshall and Tane all like did your own thing, and then I really didn't join in what you guys were doing until like the last couple of days. And so so then we one of the coolest things that I will never forget is us in your cool car going down Highway 1 or whatever the hell that was, Hawaii 1 or whatever, and we're just, all of us are just like singing songs, and it's a convertible. I think it was a Mustang, wasn't it?
It was either a Mustang or Camaro, but it was like a red like convertible like sports car. Because I just decided, cool. I was like, you know what?
All out.
What happened is I used to go to Hawaii as a kid. Whenever I went to Hawaii as a kid with my family, my dad would always rent a convertible. And so to me, it wasn't a Hawaii trip unless you rented a convertible, which is not the best idea when you're with people who have like a bunch of gear and things like that. But my intention was just to, you know, drive myself around, and then they had other bigger cars and they could just like haul the gear in the other cars. Yeah. But then when I ended up being isolated, I still had to deal with the 3 guys that I was with. I deal with all their gear, and we ended up with Tyler, who's probably like 6'4", 6'5", like in the back of this like tiny convertible with like his giant like bag of camera gear like just on his lap.
I
so how many people are in the band?
Is it
like in the band, like as in you guys traveled together, so it's like, I guess, how many people, you know, make up this?
It's Marty is the saxophone. Zach. Okay. What does Zach go by?
Mercy Lewis.
Mercy Lewis. Sorry if you hear this. It's been a minute.
It's good. I remember. That'd be really awkward if I didn't.
So Mercy Lewis is keys. Marty is the sax. Matt, I call him Matty, but Matt is the drums. And then you have Tane, who does a little of the rapping, and then and kind of back vocal things. And then you have JMO, who is he's all vocal. And then Marshall is like the head vocalist. And then Big Pink or Evan is the bassist, and then there's Josh, who plays the guitar, but he also produces too. So
wow, that's a big crew.
He produced all of their stuff. So it was a huge crew going. Everybody goes. And then obviously all their gear and all their people that come with them, their girlfriends and stuff. So it was quite the group. But it's cool. And those are those kind of things, like, you know, for you, like, does that, for you, Danielle, are those like kind of some of the perks that you get being in this like world of his?
Yes, totally. Hawaii trips, even though it's just the one, but hopefully more in the future. You know, maybe in the future I won't have to pay my own way.
Right.
That's that, traveling and just like being at shows in general. I like drove up to San Francisco to see them play there once. I stayed with Marshall's sisters. I've been to a couple of their shows on the road. They did a show when they were down here in LA one time. So I don't, mostly just because of my job, I don't get to travel with a band like that. But when I do, it's a very, very good time.
If you weren't a doctor, do you think you would be with them like full time and like be in that world like they are? the other girls?
More so than I am now, probably. Yeah. I mean, I have
That's
to live
cool.
in Seattle, but
Yeah.
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 So, Danielle, what is your role in this? What is your role in the band?
oh gosh, I don't think I really have much of one anymore, unfortunately, because I'm so far away from everybody. I would say more has to do. Oh, here's Marco. I think my role is mostly just supporting Marshall, and he.
Hi.
This is Marco, everybody. This is the other one. That was like a perfect like little like pause and staring.
Yeah,
at
she
us.
was.
That
She was like,
wonderful.
hi.
She was like, what's this? Where's those voices coming from? Yeah, I'd say now like my role is very much more just like supporting Marshall. Like definitely. Oops, sorry, fireworks. Sorry guys, the cats are super afraid of the fireworks.
Already?
Why is there fireworks?
It's year round. If it's even remotely close to a holiday, it happens every single night here. Yeah, it's just part of living in LA.
Yeah.
Is that fireworks or gunshots?
Yeah.
It's fireworks now. Yeah.
Okay.
Fireworks, definitely fireworks.
Sorry, just I had to clarify.
I've definitely like questioned that a couple of times, but I can say for sure that was a firework.
Yeah. I know the first time I think I stayed in LA with my in-laws, I was like, they were like big explosion, and I was like, oh, it must be a firework, and they're like, yeah, it's a firework. And
Yeah, and don't go outside.
yeah, totally. Don't freak out. Yeah. And then my husband was like, that was not a firework. It was gunshots. So just stay inside.
When I first moved to LA a long time ago, they in 2004, I my naive self at 21, I was living in this apartment up above like a state farm, right? And that happened. And there was this guy, there was it was like there's helicopters and like all this stuff, and I'm like, must be like a cool thing going through, you know? And you hear the shots clear as day, and I'm like, oh, you know, that's cool. And no kidding, this guy just comes running through my apartment and just like and I was like, those are not fireworks. I was so shocked. And he just ran through, and then the cops come running through, and they're like, stay here, bunker down. And I was like, okay. I locked all the windows, all the doors. Yeah, it was funny. But yeah, I mistake that the first time I was there too. So yeah, that's a common thing in LA, unfortunately. Are you like no, you're not in the heart of LA. No.
I mean, like, it depends what you consider the heart of LA. Like, I'm very close to downtown.
Yeah.
So if you consider that the heart of LA, then like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not in East LA, but like I'm on the east side of LA, if that makes sense. So like East LA is like its own area. And then the east side of LA that some people call East LA, but people who are from East LA really don't like people calling it East LA, is like Echo Park and like Silver Lake and like East Hollywood, like Highland Park. Pretty much just like not the west side. And then like I think some people would consider the west side like the center of LA. In that case, I'm very far from it. So it really depends who you talk to. And where they're from and what their opinions are of the different areas.
Yeah, I was in like Long Beach, Lakewood.
Okay, so yeah, I'm like Long Beach is kind of like its own city. So like I'm in Los Angeles proper.
Yeah, I wasn't in Los Angeles proper. Yeah, I definitely do the whole, where did you live in California? I'm like, oh yeah, LA, because half the time nobody knows where Lakewood is, or they've never heard of it. And they're like, oh, really? Where? And I'm like, Long Beach. And they're like, oh, that's not LA. I'm like, no. But nobody knows, you know? Like, it's just like Seattle. Like, you're like, nobody knows. Right. But
yeah. So going back to your role as like the band member. Sorry, we got firework.
I apologize.
Left.
Yeah, we just totally got derailed. No. So you were saying that you're like the support system for you know, your partner, and what does that look like as like the, I guess, the behind the scenes band member? Because I'm, you know, I'm the wife of the lead singer, or, you know, in a band, and it to be a support system for, you know, my husband, it's not, it doesn't always look like a, I guess, a very glorified role, but it's like there are certain things that I know that he needs from me as his support to be able to help him, you know, before he goes on stage or whatever it may be. Like, do you feel like that you fit into that role of, like, how do you, what's your supporting role?
So it's definitely evolved, I think, over the years. Because when I was in Seattle, it was very much like, go to all the shows, help like unpack the gear, help load the gear back up, like very practical things. I was always like stuck on like packing up the drum kit at the end of the shows and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
So so it evolved from that to now it's more, and also like as Marshall's kind of career has expanded to be more than like just the performances with the band. So like now he does a lot more events, and he coordinates a lot of things with different people. He works with like a lot of different groups and whatnot. So now I'm kind of more like the person that he bounces ideas off of. I give him lots of great ideas. Some he chooses to run with, some he doesn't. Some he still doesn't remember that it was my idea in the first place, but it really, really was. So like I can be credited with, you know, some of the genius behind Fremont Fridays. Not all of it. The Fremont Fridays itself was his own idea, but I've definitely given him some. Like the all ages stage this year.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, because it's summer, the kids are out. When I was in high school, I would have loved a place to go to just listen to free music and have it be all ages, because there's just not a lot of that in Seattle or really anywhere. So anyways, this is recorded now, so now he cannot forget it.
It's on the record.
It's on the record that was my idea, and he actually is doing it, which is great. But he definitely comes to me with just like a lot of troubleshooting type things, whether it be like, you know, he works with a lot of people. So whether it be like how to manage like relationships and expectations with the people that he works with. We do talk a lot about that. And then also
interpersonal relationship counselor, you know, all of the things. I totally understand. Oh, you know, someone had made me mad during band practice and I just want to, and you're like, well,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's, you know, a good amount of that. I mean, and I think it's inevitable when your circle, like my circle is like very small and tight knit, and so I don't have a lot of drama because it's like there's so few people, you know, around to have drama with. But when your circle is as large as his is, you know, inevitably you're going to butt heads with people at some point. And so I think, I definitely help. I'm the sounding board. I get to listen to all of the issues that are going on and try to help come up with solutions. So I would say that's more my role these days, which I'm just as happy to be in this role as packing up gear. Like, honestly, whatever he needs at this point. As long as I'm around.
I have a follow-up.
Does he play them for you?
What was that? Go ahead. Sorry. I was gonna ask a follow-up question, but Carrie, you have a question.
No. Go ahead.
I'm like, you had a question too. It's cool. No, I was just gonna say, how do you create like intimacy in your relationship with Marshall, since he's kind of like this public figure, and like, because it's just kind of same with me. I'm very like kept to myself. Like I have a very small circle. Like there's not a lot of people that really like they see our relationship, but it's like we try to keep it very private and try to create like intimacy or those times. And it's like, do you find it hard when your partner is in the spotlight and then you have to like create those moments while he's working or doing those things? Like, what is it like, what is it that you guys try to do to like focus on one another in your relationship as well?
Yeah, I think, you bring up a really good point, because one of the things that I've noticed has become like more of an issue, not really an issue, but more of a thing, is that when I go to his shows now, especially like if it's something that he's been organizing, like Fremont Fridays, as an example. I go and I don't get to spend any time with him at all. Like he is running around. He is so busy. Like, but you know, he lets me know. It's not like it's a surprise. And that is hard for me because I'm like, I want to be like, this is such a fun summer thing. And I just want to be hanging out with you. But you know, he's working. So that definitely can be tough for me. It helps that, you know, that I know the band and all of the kind of people associated. I have people to hang out with. So I'm not just like kind of standing there by myself, like twiddling my thumbs. It's like, I still have people to talk to and hang out with. But, you know, now that I'm living here, when I'm up there for Fremont Fridays, you know, I'm probably only up there for a couple of days or a week and I want to spend time with him, but he's busy. But like, I think it's okay if you really you just need to like understand what goes into the role that he plays. And it is fine with me. I mean, it sucks a little bit, but it's like, I get it. Like he's busy. It wouldn't make sense for him to just like be hanging out in the audience. He has to coordinate all of these different bands, all these different vendors, and make sure that everything runs smoothly for the sake of his event. And that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I think in our relationship, just like generally speaking, when he's down here, it's actually really nice because everything he's doing is remote. He doesn't really have to be anywhere. I mean, he does have people down here that he records with and friends that he sees and things like that. But his commitments, his in-person commitments aren't the same as they are in Seattle. So we do get to spend a lot more time together. And so we do, I kind of sometimes feel like if I were still up in Seattle, like maybe we wouldn't even get as much solo time as we do now that I'm in LA because he's kind of taken out of his, you know, world and put into mine. He's kind of like forced to just like spend the majority of his time with me. I think that does help. It does help a lot to just kind of have that space from, you know, the Seattle music scene and to just have some time to ourselves a little bit.
To escape it and kind of be more focused on you rather than what needs to be and what he needs to do. And and he absolutely loves it down here. Like he loves coming down here. So it's always just a really good time. He's always excited to go down there. Like he always, you know, because he's Mr. Social Media, so he's always like, I'm on my way to LA, you know, or whatever. And so you know, it's kind of, it's funny. He's like, I'm gonna go down and do this and do that, and you're like, wow, you're gonna be busy. But then, you know, on the flip side, you know, I don't think everybody of their fans knows that you're there. So, you know, for the face of it all, it's, you know, Marshall doing Marshall things with Marshall Law Band. But
I mean, it is still that. It's always Marshall doing Marshall things, no matter what. Marshall never stops doing Marshall things, so that's what we love about him. But 100%. But yeah, no, it is really nice. And it's good because it is still a good city for music. So we can still be productive when he's down there. And that's one of the things that we talked about when I was even choosing like my med school and like residency programs and things like that. You know, I wanted to be in LA, but also, you know, in part, LA would be a good city for him to come visit. There were some programs, for example, in the Midwest that I really, really loved, like the program itself. And I was like, what do you think about me moving to like Ohio or like Michigan or something like that? And he was just like do what you want, but I'd probably visit you more if you were in LA. And I was like, okay.
That's fair. Yeah.
And LA, I mean, I can't complain. It's not like it was a tough decision to make to choose LA over Michigan.
Growing up in Seattle,
Michigan. Sorry, people from Michigan.
Sorry. Growing up in Seattle, was that a hard transition to go to like all of the sun and like no rain?
Yes, it's terrible.
Yes.
It's bad sometimes. I miss the rain a lot. But I don't know. It doesn't, the sun is great. I think I was very resistant to the idea that like having sun all the time actually makes you happier. I was like, no, I grew up in Seattle. I don't need the sun to be happy. And now that I'm here, when it's like gray for too long, I'm like, what is going on? Like, where's the sun? Like, why do I feel so sad?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's great for like 10 days. And I'm just like, I'm depressed now.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't rain there very long, so it doesn't last very long.
No, it doesn't. But it is nice when it does.
Yeah. I definitely my thought was that like before was, do you get to hear like things first with the band? Like does he share all those things? I can't KayAnna, you can answer to you. But, do you guys get to have this like opportunity to hear things first, or be in the vicinity of them making music and, hear what they're doing before anybody else? Do you care?
KayAnna, you want to go first?
Oh, well, sure. I'm like, I'll give you some time, Danielle. It's okay.
I just feel like I've been talking a lot because, like, when I get older,
It's about you.
It's ramble on. So I feel like people need to stop hearing my voice for a little bit.
Oh no. I mean, I love to share the stage, of course, because I'm usually in the background. So I'm okay with you being, the center of attention. But I am also an only child, so I also like this, being the center of attention too. So no, to answer the question, do I get sneak peeks in the creative process? Absolutely. I usually like we have a common space, and of course he creates in the common space, so there's not like a designated artistic space for him to like create. So it's just usually in the living room if he's watching TV and I'm making dinner or whatever. And so like he'll be like working on a melody that, or something, and he's trying to put lyrics to it, or he's gets some lyrics from Pearl and trying to put like music to it or whatever it may be. So it's like there's times where he's like, how does this sound, like this or this? And there are moments where he asks for my opinion, and then there are times where he's like singing along and I'll like say something like, like a lyric or something, and he's like, I like that. And so there's like little songs that I've been able to put like a little bit of like my like my thoughts into, and it's really cool because there's one of them where I'm like, that's my favorite lyric because I kind of wrote it. So but it's really cool to just be able to facilitate the creative process for him. And I think that can be very hard when it's like such a small space to work. But it's really nice to be able to see someone doing what they love and being able to love them through that creative process and allow them to just be them in that space. And so, yeah, like I like that part of it. I like the part of being able to be on the outside looking into that process and then being able to see it go from couch to stage, that makes sense. Like, like it goes from behind the scenes to like in the forefront. And that's what I really enjoy about it. So, yeah, I don't know if that really, Danielle, what are your thoughts on the creative process and being a part?
I feel like you're a much more patient person than I am.
There are moments when I have to say, no, I will tell you this. There are moments where I'm like, I am overstimulated. You have your phone going, the TV is on, there's music playing in the background. Like you're I'm like, there are times where I'm like, I have reached my point of overstimulation. I love you. Please put it away.
Yeah.
But yes, I do. Yeah. I get you on that. Patience it's learned.
I feel like, and maybe it's a little bit different, but a lot of times when, so I do get to like see Marshall work, like write and work on things like that. And usually it's him listening to a beat out loud and like mumbling to himself for hours. And that's where I'm like, I've heard this beat, this like 2-minute long beat on repeat, literally the entire day.
Yeah.
Like it was cool and fun at first.
Yeah.
But, like, luckily I have like an outside area and he'll go out there and write. Yeah. So my neighbors get to listen to it instead of me. But yeah, but I think it's really fun. And then he gets really excited when he like has, he has like a semi-finished product and he'll like run it by me. And like when you see everything come together, you're like, I get it. Like, I understand why
Yeah.
it has to be this way, but I think sometimes, like having the same thing on a loop, I don't know how he doesn't get tired of it. Just
Yeah.
hearing the same thing on a loop, like over and over and over again for hours, can be a little bit taxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do totally agree with everything you've said. I don't know if there's anything, I don't think I've ever contributed to Marshall's lyrics, but there are definitely some lyrics that are like little shout outs to me, which is like always super cute.
Yeah.
And I love that. And
I think Superwoman has one of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a couple. And then there's, so it's that part of it's like really nice.
Yeah.
I think I see a little bit less of the creative process to just being in LA, but he will like send me like Google Drive of like drafts of songs and things like that, and like ask me what I think about things. Or like sometimes he'll like send me even beats and be like, what do you think of this beat? Is it too weird? And like I like things that are weird, so I'm just like, no, it's never too weird. Like weird is good. So I get to be involved in that way, but that really is his talent and his universe. And I wish I had more to actually contribute, but because you see people like Mal and Matt and stuff, and it's just like they're just like musical people, and they just like vibe off of each other and just like create the most amazing things. And we don't have that type of relationship. I'm not a very musical person, but I love music, and I do love seeing it all come together. And their band practice, when I used to be able to go to their band practices, it was always fun because like Marshall used to not drive. I don't know who knows this.
Yeah.
He got his driver's license semi-recently. So I used to be his ride to band practice quite a lot, and I would sit upstairs in the living room while they practiced downstairs. And every once in a while when I go downstairs and like listen to them kind of like put things together, it's just amazing to watch watch a band work together and how they kind of like come up with something and make it their own. And how good they are like hearing each other's ideas and going with it and things like that is really, really impressive. Like it's some crazy teamwork to be in a band.
Yeah.
That I think really goes underappreciated by people, because everybody kind of has their own style, their own their own ideas, and musicians are creative people, so they're all going to be overflowing with ideas, and to make that all come together into something that is like cohesive where everybody feels good about it is like really an amazing feat if you think about it.
I've sat in their band practices I think 3 times. And it was in the beginning when I first met them, and he was just kind of allowing me to come in there and just see. And I agree. I think I've seen a few bands, their practices, and I'd have to say theirs is probably one of the most entertaining. And I don't mean in like a funny way. I mean in like just watching them come up with whatever it is, their song or whatever, and being able, I remember like it was one of the times he was down there with you, he's going live, and he's sitting outside with the beat from, what's her name? LSP, LP, I don't remember what her name is. And they did a song together, and he's like trying to come out, and the whole thing is on this live, right? And it was cool kind of watching him kind of go, okay, I like this, I don't like this, like, and it's interesting when he goes back and like shows you like, hey, this is what I brought to the team, and everybody puts in their 2 cents to it, like how well they all can just listen to it and be like, nah, I think it needs to be like a faster beat, and then they'll all be like, yeah, that's it, and it just it flows, it's so fast, and you're like, man, I'm a musician and I can't even do it that fast. like it's just crazy. It's amazing to watch. Yeah.
So I think seeing that side of it, it does give me an appreciation for the finished product. And when I like see other bands too, just kind of like having seen that behind the scenes, and it just gives me much more of an appreciation for, I think, like live music, music in general, but especially live music, like overall. So I love being a witness to it. Huh?
Who's your favorite band?
That is like the hardest question you could ask somebody.
It is.
And you can't say MLB, okay? That's off.
Okay. You should have sent me this question like a week in advance, and then I would have had a good answer for you.
Pop quiz.
I don't think I have a favorite band currently. I can tell you what I'm listening to a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think it like always, I don't know, like bands that I like always return to, like a true Seattleite, like Death Cab for Cutie.
Oh, yeah.
They will always have a very, 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 in the Postal Service, the special place in my heart. I actually just saw them together. Vancouver is like literally in both, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The 20th anniversary tour
Yeah.
at the Hollywood Bowl in LA, and it was magical and amazing. So I wouldn't say Death Cab's my favorite band, but like probably one of the bands I like return to most often. But right now I'm listening to a lot of Alt J. I feel like I missed their last 2 albums for some reason, and so I'm now like visiting them for the first time. I've been listening to a lot of them. Marshall will tell you because we just drove down to LA, and I was just kind of playing Alt J the majority of the time.
Awesome.
So yeah, I've listened to a lot of them.
The whole 18 hours, it's just them.
No. I started off the trip just like with like their 2 latest albums, and that was it. But like I'm the kind of person who wants to, like, when I listen to music, and especially when I'm listening to a new album, I want to listen to it from like beginning to end.
Yeah.
All the time, even if the songs are kind of like meh. It's like I don't like to skip through a song. I don't like whatever, and then I discover which songs I like that way. And
that's me too.
Yeah, and I think Marshall has kind of started to gain an appreciation for that now. But I do think sometimes, if not everybody's like that, and sometimes I think people get a little bit, especially in this day and age with just like dopamine everywhere, I think people sometimes might get a little bit bored or a little restless just listening to the same band play like 12 songs in a row, even if they go together really, really nicely. So
I think it gives you an idea of like who the band is, though, you know, because before being able to have singles, you know, and everybody doing singles, you know, it was, you had to listen through the whole thing. You didn't know what other songs they had, you know? So like, it was a different time then where you could listen to it and be like, oh yeah, that song kind of sucked. Or yeah, they really only had one good song, you know, or whatever the case is, or the whole album is fucking amazing, you know, like whatever, you know. So I totally agree.
I mean, I grew up on cassette tapes, so it's like you
me
couldn't
too.
skip it. You couldn't skip the song, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was like you just had to listen to it and flip over the tape and listen to the other song.
That whole forwarding through a song never worked because you were always wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
Unless you could memorize like in the circle, like where where it stopped in the circle, you know, or whatever. Like for those of you that don't know what a cassette tape, you're not going to know what we're talking about. But those that do, you know the struggle.
Yeah, before the easy skip, or you know, I can change the channel, or whatever, change the song real quick. And even with like CD players, like that was another thing too, is like you could skip it, but
it's easier to just let it play through.
Exactly, it was easier because it's like you're trying to find this place and time where you want to listen, and it's just like let it come.
Exactly. Be patient.
So my first car, because I did have cassette tapes as a kid. I had Backstreet Boys Millennium on cassette, and I literally used to put it in my cassette player and like fall asleep to it when I was like 5. So
oh god, you were.
But then after that, I definitely grew up in the era of like CDs and CD players. And then I kind of like, I still have a massive CD collection just from like when I had that car. And actually Marshall has that car now. He drove it up to Seattle. Fun fact, my old 2003 Honda. But like, there was no way to, and he found a way to connect his phone to it. He got one of those like CarPlay, like tablet things. And like, that's the first thing he did when he got the car. He's like, I have to connect my phone to this. And I was just like, I just play my CDs.
Of course.
But I think, I don't know. It helps me appreciate music more, I think, to listen to it that way and just to kind of like slow down and just like get the vibe of the album overall, because you know singles are cool and everything, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just prefer it. I just prefer it that way. But
Yeah.
no hate to anybody who like likes like playlists
Yeah.
and things like that. I think that's another
Yeah.
talent. Curating playlists is like another thing where like people take a lot of pride in it, and I think that that's also fantastic.
Dude,
Some of my favorite.
on mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of my favorite songs are like the last CD, like the last song on the CD where it's like it ends, the last song ends, and it's like then a new song starts, and it's like
Mhm.
sometimes those like hidden tracks or those like
Mhm.
ghost tracks were like my favorite on the album, and it's like you
Yeah.
didn't get it through MP3, like you didn't get that last song, but you
Yeah.
got it on CD, and like yeah. There's been a couple times where it's like if you don't listen to the whole album, you don't get all of it.
Yeah.
And so
And it
I
was
think that's
like 10 minutes after or something.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
you had to wait.
yeah, you had to wait and be like, and honestly, like that was I agree, like there are some of the best songs
Mhm.
of the whole album all the way at that time.
Yeah.
You know, like it's hard to wait that long, but like then once one band does it, then you're like fast forwarding through all the rest of them trying to see if they all have it, you know,
Yeah.
because it's part of the last song and you're like,
Yeah.
why is this song 20 minutes long, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking on the time list of all the songs like, "What? I'm not gonna listen to this 14-minute song?" Like
Exactly. Yeah.
Or there's like some bands, like I don't know if you guys like Parliament Funkadelic. Shout out to Randy, Marshall's dad, for introducing me. But they have this album, Maggot Brain, and it's the first song on that album that I think is like really like the special treat because it starts off really, really quiet, and then it's just like this like solo guitar riff that lasts like a couple of minutes before picking up into the actual album. And if you just listen, like if you were to just like listen to that song on its own, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it kind of like introduces like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's like part of the first song, but like, I don't know, having like a nice long extended intro like doesn't really work in a playlist. It only works if you're listening to like the beginning of an album.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with you guys.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
You
Listening
get the
to
best
albums
stuff
like that.
with that, or you'll get like a extended version that you don't hear on the radio, you know, where they played the solo longer, or the end they just did some bullshit, or they talk at the end, or they put a demo in there or something of when it would first, you know, played or something. So I agree. I think it's much better if we could go back to that time and like have, you know, where we get like juicy tidbits. But I think they don't do it now because of social media. We didn't have social media as much then, you know, so like if at all. So it was more, I think MySpace was like 2000, 2001 or something like that. So
well, even on MySpace, you'd put a whole song on.
I know.
It's not like TikTok where it's just like the intro, like the 15-second intro to a song.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little bit, at least you could listen to the whole thing.
Whole thing. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many songs I've heard, like when I've been like out and about, like playing, like when people are playing like the radio in a store or something like that, where I hear a song, because like I'm big on TikTok. Like I'm a huge fan of TikTok. I don't post TikToks, but I obsessively watch them.
Yeah.
And so like I know all of these songs, but it's like I only know 15 seconds of like all of these, or however many seconds the videos of like all of these songs, and then I'm like in a store randomly, I hear the radio, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is the rest of the song.
Yeah, there was
like,
one where it had like it was only the it was called Infinity by James Young, and it was really popular with people like transition. It was a transition song where they would like be dressed normal and then they'd transition into they do like the ring light going around, and they'd be, I don't know, the guys would have no shirt or the girl would be dressed all sexy or something. It was this like showing off how people are sexy. And so I heard the whole song. I was like, this is a great song. Like, I love this. And I was assuming the whole song was that way. It was not. It was not. TikTok lied to me, and only that 15 seconds was great. You know, like I obsessively can go through it too, and yeah, and then you have like all the dances to them, you know, and you're like, I don't know. So I think it's funny because people only know things in like 15 or 20-second increments, and they don't get to have the full range of what it is. So
it's like the polar opposite end of the spectrum from like the 14-minute song.
Yes, exactly.
Fully in the other direction.
Yeah, you're like 14 minutes or 14 seconds. It's like where do you sit in music?
It's like the cliff notes of the song, if you will.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you don't get the full story, you just get the summary of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I think is actually useful for someone like me, though. It's like I don't I still listen to KEXP. And I listen to KCRW down here, which is like not exactly KEXP, but it's like another public radio station. Like I'm a big public radio station listener. So like I don't really know all of the songs that are popular, and I would absolutely not know them if it weren't for TikTok. Like I wouldn't even recognize them if it weren't for TikTok. I would have no idea.
Well, see, it's introducing you to, the popular. It's making you more modern,
Yeah, and I say that it's actually really important for my job as a pediatrician to be on TikTok because it helps me relate to my patients and the youth. And it actually does. Like if I'm able to talk about a TikTok trend or like get on the same page with like a teenager somehow like through TikTok, it works wonders.
Oh yeah.
So I say it's work. Scrolling on TikTok for 4 hours at night it's research.
Or
research and development right there. Yeah.
Exactly.
I should get paid to do it.
That's funny. I definitely can't stay on that long. I'm more of like
I don't even have TikTok.
It's probably for the best, honestly.
Yeah.
It's addictive.
I was addicted to it in the beginning, but then it was more just like I did it for music and comedy. I found a lot of comedians off of there. And a lot of them I got to see live and stuff before they're huge, like Matt Rife and all that. And then but then I don't know, then I started really getting into like YouTube and watching shows on there, and it was all over. I was like, maybe I don't need TikTok anymore, so. But yeah, it seems like you have to have it to be cool these days, and I'm too old for that, I think.
I've been trying to get Marshall to make one because I feel like he'd be really good at it.
I think he would too. I'm surprised he doesn't have one, Mr. Social Media.
I think he. So they do have one, but he's not like super active on it.
Yeah, I know the band does. Yeah.
So I've been trying to tell him, I was just like, this is how the youth is discovering music these days.
Yeah.
But
they should make up a dance or like running or something. Like put that dance out on TikTok, and maybe it'll take off and give people, make them more famous than they already are.
Yeah. I think. I don't know, but TikToks are hard to make. I tried to make one once, and like if you want to make a good TikTok that's going to be like popular and like go viral, you have to be really good at editing, and it is very much like I don't know how these young kids are doing this. They're geniuses, honestly. I'm very impressed. But like it's a lot more work than it seems just to create a very short video.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, maybe you'd have to like hire somebody. You would find one of his high school basketball player kids or something to like run and edit the band's TikToks for him.
Right?
Yeah. See, I come up with all the good ideas.
You should tell him that one too. Marshall, let's go. Come on, you got some brains behind you, buddy.
I know you're gonna listen to this.
Yeah.
I hope he listens to this.
Yeah. That's all you can do is hope.
Yeah. 100%.
I'll just edit, like I'll fast forward and edit to this part and just send him like that section.
Yeah, exactly.
Like other people agree with me.
Yeah, look, we totally agree. I totally do it. Yeah.
Come on, Marshall, get with it, buddy.
Yeah. Utilize your resources and delegate what you need,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Danielle, we're getting close to probably the end of the podcast. And we do have one like final question that we've asked this season to all of our guests and to ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But the final question that we like to ask people is, if music was your teacher, what is the lesson that is taught you? So if you can draw anything from your listening experience, or if you play music, or if there's a song that has taught you or moved you, what has it taught you?
That is a very good question. I like this question. I think one of the things that I get from listening to music, whether it's just like listening to like an album in my car, like at the gym, going to a show, this might be like really cliche, but it's very, very true. Like it allows you to just kind of like escape whatever is going on and really just experience, something that you enjoy. It kind of forces me to get out of, as somebody who is like, I don't know, I have a lot of stress. I deal with stuff, I get anxious and stuff. And like certain albums and certain like songs will like very much help me get out of that mindset and into a better, more productive one, or at least to escape it for a bit, so I can just like re-enter like my actual life, like feeling a little bit less stressed and less anxious. So I think overall, and especially like live shows, like going to shows is like that, like times 100. I think like while you're at a show, listening to a band or a musician that you really, really like, if they do a good job, you're fully immersed, in that experience for a couple of hours, and you leave feeling like, you're re-entering the world after being kind of like in some like alternate like reality, which is great. So I think that the lesson that it's taught me is really to like value that space and time in my life, to realize that I'm capable of, of like being in that place.
Yeah.
And to like really value and treasure that, and like try to seek that out, whether it's through music or something else. I think there are other things other than music that also bring me to a similar like mind space. Like I've been doing a lot of yoga. I really like being outdoors and hiking and things like that. And like sometimes, it's, I don't know if I would you describe it as a flow state, but like kind of like a flow state where you're just kind of like not thinking, you're just experiencing. I think so it's really, really taught me that is the thing that my brain is capable of doing. And that is something that I should really value and seek out in my life. So long-winded answer, interrupted by Madame Louie, who's giving me a side eye right now for pushing her desk.
She showed us her best side, by the way.
Yeah.
Right in the camera.
Hi.
Hi.
Please stop. Anyways.
Well, I'm so happy you came on and shared with us some of your experience and just your beautiful personality, because I just love you. I think you're so much fun. You're just a really awesome person in general, and you're a doctor. That makes it even better. So helping the world out. So thank you so much for just spending some time in your really busy schedule to take it and come on here.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I've had so much fun.
Me too.
It's really nice to meet you, KayAnna.
You too, Danielle.
And I hope when I'm back in Seattle, maybe the three of us can get together and hang out.
Absolutely.
Or something.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, Kara's doing something in August, and my husband's going to be there too. And so,
I
mean,
I will be here working in August. I know.
I was going to say, you could come see it and we could all hang out.
I would love to. I wish I had more time off.
Well, you should let us know the next time you're in town. Maybe we can make it happen.
Yeah, it'll be. I think November is what I'm planning on. So around the.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping MLB does Funksgiving again this year, because I think I would be able to go.
That would be
really
awesome.
exciting.
Yeah.
I think.
Are you going to come for the Met Gala too?
Huh?
Do you think you'll come for the Met Gala?
Oh, the Emerald City Gala, the one around Christmas.
Met Gala. Emerald City.
I was like,
you're going to the Met Gala? Fancy.
No.
I was like, I was like, I didn't know Seattle had a Met.
That's because how I always associate it to remember what it's called, but then it's Emerald City Gala. No.
Yeah, that's fair. I haven't been in a couple years. I would like to go. I don't know what my schedule around that time of year is going to be. but if I can be in town, I'd love to.
Yeah, I like to go to either the Thanksgiving or the Emerald City Gala. I almost said it again. Emerald City Gala. That would be fun. I've been to both and they're so much fun. So yeah. Whichever one you go to, I'll come to. Because I have to drive really far too. So
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll text you and let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be great.
I'm nowhere near Seattle either, so it's gonna be a day trip for me.
Yeah. You can come stay with me. It'll be great.
Well, either of the two, totally worth the drive.
Yeah.
Really fun. And you get to see a lot of amazing
musicians.
Seattle local artists. Yeah. And it's really a celebration of local music. So
yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it. Like I'll probably, because we live on an island, so we have to take a ferry and then, drive all the way down to Seattle. And so,
Make it a weekend trip.
Okay. I will. You can, and then we'll all get together, and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
We can all get a hotel in the same place, maybe, and like I don't know,
Yeah.
Well,
I have night.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have friends in Seattle, so it's like
yeah.
Well, I think last year for the Emerald City Gala at the Crocodile, because I think there's a hotel that's like either above the Crocodile or like very near it. And I think that Marshall got they figured out a way to reserve rooms for people that were performing and people that were around. I don't think they don't pay for it all, but they're able to kind of set aside a certain
amount of room.
So they did that last year.
If you say that you're with it or you're going to it, then you can get in that block and get a certain price. Yeah.
So maybe something to think about.
Alrighty. Well, we are so happy again that you came, and I just love you. Thank you for taking time out. And do you want to say anything else or tell anybody anything else?
No, I just really appreciate you guys having me on. This was really, really fun. And I'm not nervous anymore. Yeah, my nerves have gone. I'm feeling very, very comfortable. You guys are very good at your job.
Thank you. That makes us feel great because you know. Well, awesome. Well, thank you everybody who listened in, and we appreciate you supporting us. And support Martial Law Band. That's the band that Danielle, her significant other, is in. So be sure to go check them out, and you'll inevitably see her at some point because she will be at one of their shows for sure. I'm having an awesome time if you're on the just listening of my little kitty trying to be in the middle of everything. But anyway, thanks for coming on, and we will see you all later. Talk to you all later on the next one. Bye.